Good evening and welcome to Friday night's calendar.
Hello, thanks for joining us. Here are tonight's main stories.
Give us time to grieve. The father calling for a change in the law, saying he was hounded back to work after the death of his baby son.
Even if we can get like an extra 2 weeks, that 2 weeks would help somebody else and not have to go through what we've gone through.
Winds from Storm Eowyn batter the region, causing major disruption to buildings, transport links and toppling trees.
Yes, just how windy did it get today, and is there any more on the way? Join me very shortly for a look back at the storm and a look forward to the weekend.
Let there be light, the festival illuminating Rotherham this weekend. And
That's a Bullseye. We chat to an icon from the world of darts about how much the game has changed. First tonight, a couple from Chesterfield who lost their newborn baby are calling for a change in the law. They claim they were hounded by the father's employer to return to work while he was still grieving.
Dale and Laura's son, Toby, died after being diagnosed with a heart defect in November 2023. Now, Dale had 2 weeks of statutory bereavement leave, but he wasn't ready to return to work after that. A week later, he lost his job. Jonathan Brown takes up the story.
Hello, buddy.
Every little hurdle that they said he wouldn't overcome, he did. He was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Toby Barker lived for just 3 weeks. His parents, Dale and Laura, spent 9 months preparing for his arrival, but just days before his birth were told that due to a heart defect, he'd likely be stillborn.
I remember the last push and thinking, oh my God, like, what's going to happen here? And I just remember Dale grabbing my hand and he came out and he cried, which is not what he was meant to do.
It was just surreal, really. Just hopeful that, he was that one that was going to prove him wrong. It was the best day, wasn't it?
It was.
But after weeks of defying the odds, Toby's life support was switched off and he died in Dale's arms. All the while, he says his employer repeatedly asked when he'd be back at work as a security guard, to the point that nurses sent his bosses a letter.
While Toby is in hospital, it is important for Dale to be able to spend time with Toby and for him to be present and to be able to speak to the medical and nursing professionals.
How does it make you feel to know that the nurses felt they had to send that on your behalf?
But this is it. They shouldn't have to send that.
I think it's disgusting. Disgusting that they had to even write a letter.
Dale says he was given the statutory 2 weeks of parental bereavement leave before Toby was laid to rest a week later. He says it was shortly after that his contract was terminated.
The day after the funeral, got a phone call saying pretty much funeral's done with, when you come back to work, try and stay strong for us all. And I've got my work on my back trying to help me for updates. It's something I didn't need.
Now, a year on, Dale and Laura have set up a petition on the government website calling for bereavement leave to be extended for fathers, that's been backed by their local MP, who himself suffered the loss of baby twins.
People don't just snap out of it and get back within moments. And Dale's been from the excitement to being a new parent to the heartbreak of being a bereaved father. And then into losing his job all in the space of a few weeks. So the consequences are appalling.
It is very concerning, and it really does highlight the need for employers to understand the impact of pregnancy loss and baby death.
We reached out to Dale's former employers. They expressed their condolences but said it wasn't appropriate to comment further, while the Department for Business and Trade said, we strongly encourage employers to go beyond parental bereavement leave where they can and to act sensitively towards their employees.
Even if we can get like an extra 2 weeks, that 2 weeks would help somebody else.
It means that his name can live on and he moves along the journey with us. He's not left behind.
Dale and Laura say Toby's always in their thoughts. This Christmas tree, which they put up weeks before his birth in late 2023, has become a makeshift memorial to him ever since. Now they hope his story will inspire change that other grieving parents can be thankful for. Jonathan Brown, ITV News, Chesterfield.
And our thanks to Dale and Laura for sharing their story with us. And if you've been affected by their story, there's help available on the support pages of the ITV website. Head to the usual address, that's itv.com, and follow the links.
OK, in other news now, winds topping 75 miles per hour have hit parts of Yorkshire today as Storm Eowyn brought with it widespread travel disruption and left more than 8,000 properties experiencing power cuts as the day progressed. Now, a woman had to be cut free from a car after a tree fell on a country road at Bishop Monckton near Ripon. She was cut free by emergency crews and taken by ambulance to Harrogate District Hospital.
In Snaith near Goole, high winds ripped the roof and front wall from a car garage, scattering bricks into the road and severely damaging a parked car. Butt Lane was closed as emergency crews cleared the debris.
Further south and in Dronfield in North Derbyshire, another roof was blown from a shop, causing damage there.
And this was the scene at Britain's highest pub in North Yorkshire. Unofficial gusts of 103 miles per hour were recorded at an independent weather station at the Tan Hill Inn.
Meanwhile, Leeds Bradford Airport saw severe disruption this morning with several flights cancelled and many more, of course, diverted. Now, planes have been arriving and leaving this afternoon, albeit with delays. And here at Television Centre in Leeds, well, we didn't escape the winds.
Yeah, keep your eyes on the top left of this shot as a tree was uprooted just outside our studio in the Calendar Garden earlier this morning.
Well, Natalie Higgins is live at Leeds railway station for us now, where the weather has, of course, impacted the trains, hasn't it, Natalie?
Yes, that's right. There's been huge disruption on the trains. Many trains coming in and out of Leeds have been delayed or cancelled, and some routes have had no trains running at all due to the ferocity of the wind, which is expected to continue throughout the evening. Now, there was a reduced timetable put out, but many operators like Northern and Transpennine have warned there may be some late cancellations, and I spoke to some passengers earlier today who have already experienced that.
Our connections will be a bit difficult, and probably we won't have a booked seat because we had a booked seat on the 11:45.
My partner's coming from Morley, and that train's been cancelled, so they've had to catch a bus.
It helped us knowing that we were getting delayed. Obviously, we didn't want to turn up and then just sort of get it on the spot sort of thing, and then having to try and faff about with it all.
So big disruptions, Natalie. What's the advice for anyone travelling in our region?
Well, the main message is, of course, to not travel unless you absolutely have to. Even though the winds are expected to subside overnight, that doesn't necessarily mean that the disruption today won't have a knock-on effect into tomorrow, because a lot of the trains won't be in the right places. So it's unlikely that services will be back on track anytime soon.
Natalie Higgins at Leeds train station for us this evening. Thank you very much. Well, Kerry's with us now. Kerry, we just heard from Natalie, disruption on the railways. It's a pretty big one, this, isn't it?
Yeah, we said it was probably going to happen, and it happened. I wouldn't want to be in a high-sided vehicle today. I think it's been really tricky wherever you or however you've been travelling, and even at the coast. I'll show you just a few videos that some of our viewers have sent. You can see the shifting sands. They're really dramatic, but if you look in the background, you can see the wind basically forcing up against the waves. I think it was probably very hard to stand up along the coast at some points during the course of the day. We've had gusts in excess of 55 miles an hour, even at the coastline. There's some really big waves, and yes, we've had those crosswinds that have caused problems with aviation, but also a headwind if you were travelling stateside today. I think some of the planes actually arrived about an hour earlier because of the strength of those winds going west to east. So let's take a look at the gusts. We said that the yellow warning, which basically was covered the whole region, was 50 to 60 miles an hour. That pretty much happened. But the amber weather warning, these are our highest Met Office clarified gusts. Loftus in North Yorkshire, nearly 80 miles an hour. Leaming 73. Topcliffe 68, and we had a mean speed at Loftus of 50 miles an hour. That's an average mean speed taken in the space of about 10 minutes. That's really powerful. You know, we're talking gales there. So yeah, really strong. And you've seen in that video there that some of our weather enthusiasts in North Yorkshire and over the Dales have got their own weather stations that have recorded much higher than that. We can't verify it, you know, in relation or in conjunction with the Met Office, but it's very probable because down the road and around the corner a really strong gust. So I think we're going to remember this storm, and I'm going to be talking about it probably certainly in terms of the UK and the Met Office and our weather for quite a long time, particularly for Ireland. It was the lowest recorded pressure over Ireland in January in 125 years, and they had 115 mile an hour clarified Met Office wind gusts. So what's happening? Well, it is getting a little bit better. ION is nudging its way northwards, so we lose the amber weather warning across most parts of our region during the course of this evening. So we are expecting, yes, just a tipping into parts of North Yorkshire, gusts over the next few hours or so, 40, 50, but it's easing and everything's becoming much calmer, dare I say, as we head into tomorrow, and I will have the forecast in full a little later on in the programme.
Not an easy one to say, but one we will remember.
Yes, we'll remember it, yeah.
OK, still to come on tonight's calendar. Children in Rotherham have their creations projected onto the walls of the town's most famous buildings, and...
John Lowe.
That was me, 1979, world champion. Have I still got it? Find out later.
Look forward to it. On to some more of the day's news. And a thief who drove his car into a farm shop worker in North Yorkshire as he tried to block his escape has been jailed. Yeah, CCTV footage shows Alan Lewis from Goole driving directly into his victim after stealing hundreds of pounds worth of stock from Mainsgill farm shop in Richmond. His actions were described as utterly despicable at York Crown Court today.
Dramatic CCTV captures the moment a member of staff at this family-run farm shop in North Yorkshire tries to stop a thief before being driven at. As he tries to close the metal gate and stand in the way, he's pinned to the bonnet of this car, nudged along the road, clinging on, before the car speeds up. Behind the wheel, Alan Lewis, the 58-year-old from Goole, pleaded guilty to charges including theft from a shop, driving while disqualified, driving without insurance and driving a vehicle dangerously. Today at York Crown Court he was sentenced to 18 months, half of which he'll spend on licence. Court heard how Lewis had some 33 previous convictions for 89 offences, many of them driving offences. The judge said it was as bad a record as he had ever seen and went on to tell Lewis, how you've not killed somebody is beyond me. The items Lewis stole from Mainsgill farm shop in Richmond totalled almost £900. Recorder Peter Makepeace, KC, describes staff there as incredibly hard-working entrepreneurs. They are a force for good, he said, and you, Lewis, preyed on them. He paid tribute to the bravery of the staff member, telling Lewis he is in stark contrast to you and that he should be commended by the court for his bravery. Alan Lewis has also been banned from driving for 2 years and 7 months and ordered to take an extended driving test too. Matt Price, ITV News, York Crown Court.
Officers are examining the remains of 5 burnt-out cars found in Woodland in Sheffield. The vehicles were recovered from Rolleston Wood in the Gleedless area. South Yorkshire Police say they are unsure whether the cars were stolen. The barriers around the area will now be repaired to provide better security and a safer environment. Doncaster Shefford Airport is set to reopen using more than £100 million of public money after failing to secure private funding. The council is proposing to use a share of the £900 million given to the authority as part of devolution arrangements. The money will go towards a new publicly owned company called Fly Doncaster in partnership with an international operator. The Mayor says it won't affect the taxpayer.
The loan will not affect the people of Doncaster as such. The loan is given from Doncaster Council because we'll be getting that repaid back from Fly Doncaster. Many great things happen by the starting up by using public money.
Well, if you're fed up with these cold, dark, blustery nights like tonight, and you need a little bit of light in your life, then you could be in luck this weekend, because a trail of illuminated art and sound projections is going on show in Rotherham.
Yes, it's the inaugural Rotherham Winter Light Festival, and it's part of the world's first children's capital of culture, which is taking place in Rotherham. Well, Emma Haywood is there for us tonight. Emma, what's going on?
Oh, Chris, it's been really rather lovely being here for the last few hours, watching darkness fall and the lights come on. And this behind is just one of the installations on 5 buildings in Rotherham. But this is a festival which is a celebration of arts, music, imagination and storytelling. Let's find out more from the director, Helen Jones. Helen, tell us why it's called Rotherham and what people can expect apart from the dancers.
Absolutely. So welcome to Rotherham, and Rotherham is an otherworldly Rotherham. So it's imagined from the imaginations of children and young people and turned into these fantastic installations by theatre company Imitating the Dog. Yeah. So over the next 3 nights, 4:30 till 8:30, so much more to see, loads of free workshops, walkabouts, lots of neon ladies dancing. So loads to get involved with.
Thank you. And Deborah Bullivant, you're from the Grimm Literacy Charity, aren't you? Tell us about how you're involved, and this has really made you smile tonight, hasn't it?
It has, yeah. Grimm & Co has an emporium of stories just up the hill, and there's a huge projection on the town hall opposite us. So yeah, we've been involved because we've been working with children, young people on their stories, and they've been creating the stories that are being projected onto these buildings through these beautiful displays.
And you wanted to give sort of children a voice and tell their stories, didn't you? That's what's important here, isn't it?
Absolutely. They've got the best imaginations of all of us, so they're really excited, really funny. We've been laughing our heads off at the stories as we've been walking around. How often do you get to do that? Walk around your town and see all this beauty and hear all those stories? Yeah, it's exciting.
And everywhere you look, there's families and people really happy, isn't there, tonight?
Yeah, and people of all different ages. So it's been really nice kind of watching people just looking at their town through a different light. So yeah, we're really excited to see how people experience it.
Well, thanks so much. And this festival runs for the weekend but goes on all year.
Made us smile as well, Emma. I thought you were going to bust some moves then, like those people behind you. Thank you very much.
We'll let you do that.
That's great, doesn't it?
You can do that, yeah. Wow. And I'm really glad that this storm has died down for them for this weekend.
Yeah, let's hope it does.
Right, well, it's Friday night, isn't it? And if you're not going out, I bet you're settling down to watch something on the TV, especially in this weather.
Well, I'm not, no, I'm working late tonight. Well, yes, gone are the days when the only place to see the latest blockbuster was at the cinema. Now we can stream new movies from the comfort of our own homes instead of with strangers eating popcorn.
Yeah, that can be annoying. So, do cinemas still have a future? Well, Chris Conway has been investigating.
They say there's something magical about going to the cinema.
It's the wizard who should be afraid of me.
The chance to see the latest releases on a screen far bigger than most people have at home.
You're green. I am.
But with a number of cinema chains closing screens and the length of time before films appear on streaming platforms getting shorter, has our relationship with cinema changed? These people in Barnsley say they prefer to stream at home rather than going to the cinema.
We're getting on a bit now, but when we were younger, we used to go to the cinema a lot, didn't we?
Yeah.
But I bet we've not been for
We haven't been for ages.
6 or 7 years probably.
No, I'm just not being interested in the cinema, to be honest. I prefer in the comfort of my own house. It's more comfortable.
I like to watch films at home because I don't like the cinema because it's cold, there's lots of people around and it's noisy, so I just prefer to watch it on my sofa at home.
Recently, box office numbers haven't quite matched the escapism on offer by watching a movie on the big screen. Last year, over 120 million cinema tickets were sold, an increase of just over 5% compared to 2022. But still far less than the 176 million tickets sold in 2019, before the pandemic.
It's a wake-up call, in all honesty, I think, for the sector.
Nick, who runs an independent cinema, which shows everything from the latest blockbusters to foreign language hits, believes cinema still has a crucial role in society.
We're a home for a lot of people. A lot of people can come here because they'll hear their mother tongue, and there's not many places where you can experience that.
With a lot of people preferring to stream films at home now, do you think cinema still has a future?
We offer sort of different layers of ticket pricing to make sure that it is accessible. So we have a £1 ticket for asylum seekers and refugees, a £2 ticket for those that are unwaged or struggling financially.
The British Film Institute says the struggles in the industry haven't gone unnoticed by movie studios, with big-budget blockbusters on the rise again to try and draw crowds back.
The moment we're in right now in cinema has been an incredible start to the year. We're seeing huge audiences that far exceed where we were pre-pandemic on a regular basis, coming out to watch a whole range of films, which is really great to see.
To help boost interest, the BFI offers a free film each month in cinemas across the UK. And while some may prefer to stream, they remain keen to remind people there's nothing like watching a movie on the big screen. Chris Conway, ITV News.
I did see Paddington at the cinema.
So did I.
Excellent. Well, time to take a look at some sport now, and there's just the small matter of a Yorkshire derby this evening.
Zero Accounting Software sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
Well, Sheffield United will look to go top of the Championship tonight as they welcome struggling Hull City to Bramall Lane. The Blades have been busy splashing the cash this week. They've signed striker Tom Cannon from Premier League side Leicester for £10 million. It's not clear yet if he'll be eligible to play tonight, but head coach Chris Wilder is counting on the fans to make the difference.
Not being disrespectful, you know, everybody expecting a Sheffield United win. I know that doesn't rock up like that. So if we can, and hopefully we will, make that one of those electrifying Friday night games at Bramall Lane under the lights, as we all talk about, against a local team with a decent crowd, then hopefully we can get that result that will obviously see us go back to the top of the division.
Now, everyone loves a bit of the darts, don't they? And the name on everyone's lips is Luke Littler. But move over Luke the Nuke, because Chesterfield's very own darts legend, John Lowe, is back in town, taking on all comers tonight.
Yes, the former joiner who never let fame go to his head was big in the 80s, the sports heyday, when he won £100,000 for scoring a perfect 9-darter. Well, Katie Oscroft went to meet him.
He wants 2 18s for £100,000.
It was a lot of money, a life changer completely. But I'd practiced 19 years to get that 9-dart game. And the best newspaper article I saw on the back page got a picture of John McEnroe who won Wimbledon at 60,000, and Sebi Ballesteros had won an Open at 90,000, and the headline went, "Wobbly Belly Low beats them all." You know, it's a great title.
Can you remember the feeling when it happened?
I can, because you don't expect it to happen, but there's something about it. I knew it was going to happen. And I'd put my arm in the air before the third dart went in double 18.
It was 1979 when you first became world champion, then you turned professional. Did that change your life?
It did, but I still kept the joinery jobs on because I thought this bubble will burst after a year and I'll be back at work. But it didn't, so I kept winning and winning and winning.
212s up there for this world crown.
The crowd leap to their feet.
What about young Luke Littler, the current world champion?
It was time for the old changing of the guard, I call it. It was time that some youngsters come in, moved them over.
Before Luke was born, John invested his 9-darter payout and toured the country.
And to earn his money, up to £100 a night, Lowe has to take on 16 of the best local players. They want to knock him off his pedestal.
I'm feeling reasonably confident, but I'm only in the dressing room. This is a bit different when you get out there on the stage and you've really got to settle down and the throw gets longer and the stage gets bigger.
Tonight he's in his hometown football club, still taking people on.
They'll all want to beat me, but there'll only be 16. Those 16, the nice part of the night, they all get their own walk-on music from the door.
Well, let's see if you've still got it then.
We will.
Players have gone to train, John, so here we are in the dressing room and they've got a dartboard.
We have.
What's the key to it? What would make me a good darts player?
Stance. You've got to stand right, keep that elbow in, and there's a ball.
Well, I've listened to everything you've said, John, so I'm going to have a go. How hard can it be? Wow. 180.
Wow. Follow that.
I don't believe it, Katie. I don't believe it. The tricks of the telly, eh?
But we did try to follow that, didn't we?
We had a go, didn't we, this afternoon? Yeah, take a look at this. You're doing all right, actually. Well,
yeah,
I'm doing all right.
You were.
Well, I take it very seriously.
Well, the bit that we filmed, you were doing all right. You weren't before, but there we go. And then I had a go, didn't I?
Yeah. Your time at the hockey didn't go quite as well, did it? Take a look at this next one, though. Whoops.
Ooh.
Oh, dear.
Made it into the wall. Yeah, that was pretty bad.
He was a joiner, wasn't he? By all accounts, was John Lowe. We need a plasterer now to come over to ITV. So any plasterers out there, we could do with your help.
He might be able to do it.
Here's Kerry.
Today's forecast: seafood and sugar cube towns. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Yes, it's definitely been a wild one across many parts of the region today. Some big waves, travel disruption and trees down, but everything is thankfully easing as we head through this evening and overnight tonight. Actually, some frost and ice potentially in the mix overnight tonight under clearer skies towards dawn, but that leads the way for a very different feel as we head into Saturday, the best day of the weekend. So Storm Eowyn now pushing its way northwards. Behind that, we did have those winds rattling through west to east during the early part of the afternoon. Under those clear skies, a chilly start to the night. And then we do have a weather front pushing in to southern and western parts of the region, exiting eastwards. So it just leaves things fairly wet into the second half of the night. But under the clear skies, the temperatures tumble. So there is a risk of frost and, yes, potentially some icy stretches as we head towards dawn. There is sometimes as we head into Saturday, 8:04 and 4:34. So tomorrow, frosty, potentially icy, a rogue shower clipping the Pennines, could be a little bit wintry, but for most of us, it's largely dry and clear. Plenty of sunshine, bit of a breeze, but nothing like today. Definitely feeling calmer in the sunny spells. It will be chilly, but of course more pleasant with the blue sky. 5 or 6 Celsius, just below the average for the time of year. Got another little system coming through. We'll bring some sleet and wet snow over the hills for the early part of Sunday, and then it's a dry start, clouding up from the southwest, and then it looks wet and windy by the end of the weekend, at least into the start of next week.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Hey Kez, I like your picture. Look at those pegs. They're doing some work, them, aren't they?
Catherine, it was very brave. Mega pegs. She only got a load on the line, but she got it dry. Of course, it was sunny and windy today. So
it's always been dry.
I hope you've still got your washing if you pegged it out. Thanks ever so much for watching. Charlene White's next.
Bye-bye. Later.
You are.